This is ANN Flash Report. Good news. Once again, the global economic growth has surpassed its projected value last year in 2028 by 50%. The gross domestic product or the GDP growth of most of the African countries as well as that of the Asian countries like Philippines has been surprisingly increasing for the past 7 years. In addition, the updated version of Unified Nation Passport in all races, ages and gender are now available online and can be used for business, work and leisure activities in all parts of the world. Meanwhile, the Middle East countries have officially ended the geopolitical conflicts in their
Good day, sir. Here's my passport. Yes, I am a Muslim coming from the Philippines. Wait, what? What do you mean? I am not associated in any terrorism. You can clearly see on my documents, and I didn't even commit any crime. No, sir. I am not a terrorist. I beg you. I am telling you the truth. Please, sir. Please. I have the privilege and opportunity to work overseas in order to provide a decent life for my family. Unfortunately, I am constantly questioned and subjected to harsh interviews at the immigration office simply because of my ethnicity. Tired of being bombarded with ridiculous inquiries. Well, I understand that immigration should be stringent in order to protect its citizens from unwelcome threats. However, I simply cannot stand on how they regard Muslims and treat us inhumanely. I feel like I was invalidated for who I am. So to tell you the truth, it is exhausting because they are suspicious regarding my identity. The worst part is they tend to hold me or even detain me since I am a Muslim. It is truly sad how my ethnicity is perceived as a terrorist threat by society. It is always the Muslims are being blamed for any terrorist incidents that occur around the world, such as explosions and terrorist attacks. Muslims are bad, scary, and violent. These statements are a stab in our hearts for us Muslims, for they have a significant impact on our dignity as a human being. Even in my country, mistreatment also prevails. We, especially Muslims coming from Mindanao, are often ragtagged as an ILF or any other forms of terrorism. We are vulnerable and subjected to unjust discernment. The unfortunate stereotype of Muslims being violent people has caused them to be suspected of serious crimes with impunity. We are now in the 21st century, and how come we get to experience these kinds of hatred and discrimination from our society? Is it that hard to yearn for a fair treatment? We don't even deserve all of this, for we are also humans living a decent life. Is it that hard to accept and live with tolerance with our differences, where ethnicity, race, and religion are the basis of how we treat each other? I I am so tired of being mistreated by our society.
Too diligent, too smart, too responsible. It's always like that. It's either too much or too little. Growing up as a daughter of an immigrant, an Asian immigrant to be specific, people stereotype me as the nerd, that I'm only capable of being book smart and not street smart. People always assume that I would excel with what I do because I had to strive for my future. It's true, but I'm also passionate about it and I love what I'm doing. I have always been low pass as a person, disregarding my abilities and talents and treating me like I'm invisible. And once they need help, once they need something from me, they start to acknowledge me. But I could feel how they think so lowly of me. They said school is supposed to be fun, and that's where we meet our friends. But what we see in movies, what we read in books, it's not always true. I dreaded waking up and going to school because once I get there, I know I will be invisible. I only get noticed when people need me, when they are about to fail and need me to do their homework so that they could pass. It's a never-ending cycle that I go through and it makes me feel worthless. I couldn't ask for help because I know I would only be dismissed, saying that I was never physically harmed or threatened and that I shouldn't take the words too seriously. I feel so helpless and I want to fight back, but I couldn't. And when the pandemic going on, it has gotten worse. From people treating me like I'm invisible and nobody, to now getting called words that no person should ever get called. They call me Ching Chong, Kung Fu Virus, and even tell me to go back to where I came from. I never wanted this. I never wanted to be different. I just wanted to be treated like a normal person, with respect, admiration, and sincerity, not hate, mock, and judgment. This world is too cruel and inhuman. Just because I'm from a different race, just because I'm Asian, that they get to mistreat me and make me feel inferior. This is too much. My rights as a person is being stepped on, ignored, and thrown out the window. And for what? Because I'm Asian? Because I'm different? Because I don't belong in this perfect society that they built because I'm just the daughter of an immigrant, hoping for a better future, for a better life. I'm also human. I get hurt, I get tired, and nobody should be superior to the other. We're all supposed to be equal. But no! I have to shut my mouth and stay quiet. I have to endure this because nobody would believe me. Nobody would bother caring at all. All because I'm a daughter of a lowly Asian immigrant. An Asian immigrant.
The sun beamed beautifully, casting golden glow on the earth. But in this place of misery, its golden rays cannot seep through. I always think of how cruel the world is, how these wealthy entities are enjoying their lives while we, the oppressed, are suffering from their pleasure. Why am I deprived of something so deserving for me to have? Opportunities, privileges. Why? Ha! How ridiculous that question is. Do I ever have a choice? No, I don't. In despair, I'll just watch my dreams and hopes drift and be stolen away from me. Now, look at me. I am one of the facets of society. When can you ever start to think that I am human too? That I am just like all of you. I deserve to live with equity. The dirt of the land that I plowed spattered my hands, and it is now full of calluses. I sweat blood, but the fruit of my labor is as tiny as a toast of my younger brother. Money, food, and our little house made out of roof vanished. Now, what would I feed to my family? We're now homeless, just like the rats in the streets. Can't you see how truly wretched my life is? I was born on the wrong side of the tracks, and rusted chains were fettered on me, while they had silver spoon in their mouths and gold jewelry attached to their bodies. The root of my genesis was casted out because she was out of her mind. They said she was out of her mind. Your mother is crazy. She can't do the job. Everybody here is disgusted by us. Please give us the food. I have money. I can pay you, madam. Please. But you, oh Poland, ignored me. What else? Why was I not living the kind of life you all have? Yes, I am below you. Your clean clothes are tainted with greed, and you care for nothing but your privilege, status. The darkest day of my life came, and torment appeared. Get out of my way, you rat! You must be punished for blocking my way. Well, unless you have money. See how cruel this world is? The rapacity of your eyes is all shows how inhumane you are. Money, money, money. All they can think of is money. I don't have money. Our debts are as heavy as the anchor. Mama, I am hungry. My stomach is growling, but I do not crave food. I crave justice. Goodness gracious! Mystery turned into hell. And hell is where I live. Tell me, heavenly sky, why aren't these socialites as beautiful as you are? Do I deserve this? Look at me. Turn your heads to me. Don't you feel any pity?
I wake up and I reach out my hand as the sun is beaming through the window. The sky is as brilliant as the day, and the weather is perfect for being out and about and enjoying the breeze. All of this could have been perfect if only she was here. If only My daughter was here, but she left me, and she is now one of the constellations overhead which I used to gaze up at night with my daughter. I'll gaze up at night if I miss you, because I know you'll look down if you miss me too. Shine brightly, my star. My daughter suffered from excessive bleeding, and it may have been avoided if she had received prompt treatment. I rushed her to the hospital when she began to bleed profusely. I pleaded with the physicians and nurses to come help me in saving my daughter. Doctor, please! Nurse, please help me! Come help my daughter, she's in pain! A doctor approached me, but to my astonishment, he told me that he will only treat my kid if I had the money to pay right away, since that is the hospital's policy. I swear I will pay, and I will pay as soon as I can. I'll come back here and give you the money. Just please, please save my poor daughter. Allow my daughter to live. However, the heartless doctor merely stated that he could only rescue my kid if I had the money. I looked helpless as I sat on the bench outside the hospital, holding my bleeding daughter in my arms and stared blankly into space. A doctor arrived and decided to assist my daughter. They attempted to resuscitate her, but only to discover that it was too late. I couldn't believe my kid had perished, that they murdered my daughter, and it's all because of that idiotic policy. No, my daughter. She would have lived if you all had acted sooner. If only you hadn't thought of that stupid system of yours. Instead of assisting the needy, all you worry about is money. You're going to treat us this way just because we didn't have enough money to pay the fees? We are still people. We also require the therapies available to the wealthy. That's the issue here. You all would simply assume that because we are poor, we will not pay. You are treating people unjustly. And here, in my home country, what do you expect? We're still lacking medical facilities, lacking medical personnel, especially in rural areas. And many do not get access to quality healthcare, and the list just goes on and on and on. Can't you see that our healthcare system is fragmented? The government spends little money on the program, which causes high out-of-pocket spending and further widens the gap between the rich and the poor. I am a mother who merely wanted her daughter to be okay. A mother who wants nothing but the best for her daughter. A mother who did everything she could to make her daughter feel safe and secure. But my daughter, on the other hand, who is only a child, deprived of her life, was a victim of health inequality.
Ripped books, crooked chairs, having a class under a tree. I have to deal with this every single day. The journey that I face gets exhausting each day, but the dedication to study and extend my knowledge keeps me alive. I have always wanted to finish my studies, but the opportunities that I have are limited. I wanted to be a doctor, but due to the circumstances, that dream is now hazy and unclear. I wanted to learn more about the world, but I can't. We don't have enough resources and technology, unlike the other schools. Why? Why are we not given the same treatment that the government has given? Is it because we live in a community far from urbanity and we're not given the right chance to study? Why? People of color and poor people are often abandoned when it comes to education, left to their own materials in schools that are old, worn out, and tend to fail. As they say, money equates with education. high quality education is only for the rich. Those gifted with skills and knowledge still cannot afford the means for a better quality of education due to the financial constraints, especially with the hikes and increasing prices for the tuition and other fees. Every person has the right to finish education, but not everyone is given the opportunity. The academic setting between the rich and the poor is rampant. Rich people tend to get more attention and privilege than the poor since they get to study in the big universities that carry a big name. We, the poor, cannot be given the same opportunity. We have to pour our blood, sweat, and tears just to get the same freedom they have, or we have nothing. All I can say is money. Money can do many things, and the oppressed have nothing to do but to watch the rich getting what they need just because they have money. My life is difficult as it is, but it has become even more difficult as a result of the pandemic. I have no money to buy a gadget for our online class. I don't have enough money for Wi-Fi or mobile data. A constant power shortage here in our place, and the signal does not even reach the side of the town. Now tell me, is this the life I wanted? When will I experience having the same good fortune everybody has? Do you expect me to learn despite the financial struggles I am facing? Am I going to finish my studies in this state? Will this continue forever? Do we deserve this kind of treatment?
I aspire and dream of becoming a medical doctor and a scientist working in the famous the Johns Hopkins Hospital. Hi, I am Dr. Natalie, your son's attending physician. I am sorry to inform you, but based on the lab results, your son has a rare type of pancreatic cancer, late stage 3. However, as the head of the medical research here, I would like to propose your son to participate in our clinical trials. This is what I want to become. But here I am right now, and all I could see are my dreams and aspirations gradually fragmenting into pieces and slowly drifting away in the distance. And all that remains just a figment of my imagination. I could still vividly remember that moment, which I thought my most meaningful time of my life. Will you marry me? He proposes, and of course, I say yes. I love him so much. But without knowing, that first yes ushers me to the road of uncertainty, into the vastness of nowhere, and deceivingly leads me to utter and infinite, meaningless yeses to him. There is no need for you to finish your schooling or pursue any profession. I can feed you and the children. I am the man in the house, and my decision is final. You cannot leave me. You cannot find anyone better than me. You really think so? You useless moron. Please, enough. It's been 10 years now. Still, here I am, stuck in this abusive, toxic, filthy, vicious cycle, living in this very present moment, in this grand, marvelous 21st century. Isn't it ironic? Why does it feel like I exist eons ago, when women were just seen to be adornment of men, extension of men's ego? Women who were put into a box, defined to be only wives and mothers. Women who were deemed to be submissive, inferior, and unequal to men. Women with no rights to suffrage, to education, to public position, nor the rights to improve, to choose, and to decide for themselves. I thought this verminous era was already ended, long before it's been buried into the deepest core of the soils and ultimately vanished into the past, with no minute remnants surfacing in the present time. Again, this is 21st century, an epoch of my lifetime. But as I look around me, I witnessed oftentimes women are still perceived to be far less worth than men. What a striking gender disparity indeed! Here, women have no freedom to travel or get a passport or maneuver a steering wheel. There, female infanticide is increasing day by day. Female infants are killed because they are regarded as being lower in the case hierarchy than males. What a horrible excuse! And there, women are subjected to child marriage, human trafficking, abuse, and like a domino effect, this gender inequality further leads to illiteracy and economic dependence to men. And here, a notorious belief in the society, when women are traditionally associated with enormous amount of care work, such as housekeeping and motherhood. How compelling these circumstances are in our society, on gender inequality, domestic violence, and oppression on women. This is unfathomable. Society, enough! Stop stereotyping cultural and gender roles. Stop perceiving gender as two opposing ideals, because it is not. Gender is an incredible spectrum you must see. Women, listen, I urge you to speak up. We must start and continue to fight for our rights, to stand for our voice, our ambitions, and aspirations. And you, Natalie, don't you think it's about time to take the plunge and take a tight grip on that steering wheel?
We just present to you the diverse facets of social inequalities, racial and ethnicity, socioeconomic and health, education and gender inequality. We name these as the plagues of inequality in the 21st century. These inequalities have long been fought since centuries ago, and up to this time, we still observe and experience different forms of discrimination in our society and around the world. We realize these inequality issues are complex and consist of overlaying societal aspects such as social, cultural, economic, and political that we need to deal with. Therefore, there is no ultimate scaffold of solutions or a silver bullet to solve all these inequalities at once. Nevertheless, we, as members of the society, can start in our own little way. Let's start in the family. Let's cultivate, especially to the younger generations, the core values such as respect, justice, equality, empathy, and compassion to mankind, regardless of their race, gender, or economic status. And in our society, we should stand up against prejudice and intolerance, fight against this systemic and brutal inequality. It's either we speak up or we don't. But remember, staying silent is also a form of negligence, ignorance, and violence. As they say, silence helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented.
I am not a terrorist. I beg you.
It's always like that. It's either too much or too little.
I always think of how cruel the world is.
If only you hadn't thought of that stupid system of yours.
Why are we not given the same treatment that the government has given?
Women, listen, I urge you to speak up